Hi, this is your attorney, Sasha. I'm so happy that you've decided to work with us for your United States citizenship. What an exciting time for you. We do like to file our citizenship cases using the MyUSCIS online account system. We've found that the cases generally move quicker through the MyUS system when the naturalization application is filed online. USCIS does still accept paper applications, so if for some reason it's too difficult for you to go through the process of creating the online account, we will work with you on a paper application, of course, but we do highly encourage an online filing as normally it does go through the system faster. If we do an online filing, what will happen is we will prepare a draft of all of the information that will be populated into the online MyUSCIS system for you to review. We will either give you a questionnaire via email or through our online client portal for you to complete, right? That will have information like your 5 years work history, your 5 years residential history, all the trips you've taken in and out of the US, all of the background information for your citizenship application. If you're an existing client, we may already have some of this information, but normally we do need to update the 5-year history for the work and residential. Now, we also will need some documents, but citizenship comes with pretty basic documentary requirements for people who are applying under the 5-year rule. We'll need your passport, all the passports you used to travel during the past 5 years, your green card, marriage certificates, divorce certificates, birth certificates for you and your children. But beyond those simple biographical documents, it's not a heavy documentary case, right? When we do the online system, all of that evidence will be uploaded with your naturalization application. One of the things we love about the online system is that we will get a receipt notice generated right away after we file the case online. If we do it through the mail, obviously, it will take a week or two for that receipt notice to come in the mail. When we file online, we do also get a receipt notice in the mail in addition to the electronic one, which is available in your MyUSCIS account. Now, USCIS will then decide whether or not they will schedule you for a biometrics appointment. If you've had biometrics within the past 3 or 4 years, generally we've been seeing them send notices to waive the biometric appointments, but that is absolutely at USCIS discretion, whether or not they want to call you back in for another fingerprint appointment, or whether or not they will use the existing fingerprints and photo on file. If you do get scheduled for a fingerprint biometrics appointment, that will generally be scheduled within 30 days of us filing the case. And if you have the MyUSCIS account, the fingerprint appointment will show up in the notices tab where it can be downloaded. And like I said, it will be sent via mail as well. Now, when it comes to processing time for citizenship, it's really all over the place. Now, for the cases we file online, they've been going through very, very fast. And we've been in cases all around Florida and multiple field offices, Tampa, Oakland Park. Also, we filed cases all around the US. And we've seen the trend just generally. When we file online, I would say on average, it's about 3 months to be called in for a citizenship interview. Now, processing times vary tremendously. And some people are lucky and their cases go through fast, and some people are not as lucky and they go through the normal processing time. So I always tell everyone, it's important to always look at what are the normal processing times, right? Because the normal processing times shown on the USCIS website kind of show us what would be the maximum that we expect to be waiting in line for our citizenship interview. So I'm just going to put here on the screen. I'm going to choose Oakland Park, which is the office that has jurisdiction over Fort Lauderdale. And you'll see here that they say the processing time at Oakland Park is about 8.5 months. Now, I just filed a case at Oakland Park. It took 2 months to go through, so not much faster than that online processing time. But the online processing times are relatively reasonable. And like I said, these kind of represent the cases that go through the full processing time and are not chosen for kind of a faster expedited processing, where we do see often the interviews coming in 2 to 3 months. But you can always go, depending on where you are, you can go to the website, uscis.gov, and go to check processing times, choose N-400, and you can choose the office that has jurisdiction over your place of residence, right? And so, I'm just gonna do another one randomly. Jacksonville, 11 and a half months. So, they're not significantly long. And like I said, we see them going through much, much quicker. Now, once you are in the front of the line, you will get your interview notice. You will study for your test, of course, and go to your interview. Normally, a lot of offices will, if your interview is very early in the morning, like 7 a.m., you may be told you can come back at 1 p.m. for a ceremony on that same day. It's very common in offices around the U.S. If you can't do a same day ceremony, if your appointment's on like a Monday, normally you're going to come back on something like Friday. They do a lot of Friday ceremonies and do your ceremony a few days later on Friday, right? It can be a few weeks between ceremonies, but it's often within a very short amount of time after your citizenship interview for you to be scheduled for your oath ceremony. And at the oath ceremony, they will take your green card, they will swear you in as a U.S. citizen, and then you leave with your certificate of naturalization, and then you can go apply for your U.S. passport after that through the post office system, right? So it's a pretty streamlined process. It goes through, has been going through recently relatively quickly, especially when we do the electronic filings. And if you choose to do a name change, which some people do, if you want to change your name legally, and that's not like changing your name to your married name, marriage certificates allow you to change your name. I'm talking about like a completely different name change. Like I'm going from Sasha to Serena, right? I would have to have a court ceremony for my oath. And what would happen is the federal court judge would issue the certificate of naturalization and a legal name change order, changing my name, and the certificate of naturalization will be issued in my new name. So the only real downside of going through a name change process is that you do your judicial ceremony in a U.S. district court, and that normally they only do those ceremonies once a month. So sometimes you're waiting, 3-4 weeks to go to your ceremony after the interview, because you have to wait for a group of people for changing their names to all go together to the federal court and do a name change ceremony. But other than that, there's no downsides. And changing your name legally, for example, here in the state of Florida, would cost a $500 filing fee with the court. So it's a way to change your name for free if you're interested as part of the naturalization process. Now, like I said, it's pretty streamlined. All of the study materials are available on the USCIS website. I will provide a link to the study materials, but it's really easy to just go to Google and Google. Actually, I'll do it right here and I'll show you. Hold on. Naturalization study guides. And you want to always be getting the materials directly from the USCIS website. But they've got a great website with materials, study for the test. And we're always doing the 2008 version of the test, right? They had tried to amend the test, but it never happened. So we're all still doing the 100 questions from 2008. And there's all of the, as we call the booklet that has all the questions. Most people are familiar with this format. But I also like the US's website because they have, for example, you can drop down and there's the audio. And they have the MP3s, right? Which I like the MP3s because the test is oral. You're going to be asked, how many senators do we have out loud? And you'll have to respond. We have 100 senators out loud. So, it's nice to train your ear to the audio, right? And so, like I said, they have all these different formats on the USCIS website. However, it's best for you to study. Interactive practice tests. There's like flashcards. There's all of these different tests, and they do have obviously materials in Spanish as well. So you can do flashcards, you can do all of these different things, right? And so we highly encourage you going to the USCIS study page and getting your study materials, making sure that you are studying, because some of the cases go through like 60 days, so you don't have so much time to study, which is great to become a citizen so quickly, but the downside obviously is that you got to be ready to study. Now, you obviously need to also have your English up to par, right? And if your English is not good, you need to think about whether or not you should be applying, frankly. You need to be able to do the whole test in English, and you need to be able to talk about your application in English when they review it with you. So when they were say, where was the last place you lived before you moved to the current address? When was the last trip you took? Why did you go on that trip? Or where did you go? You need to be able to understand the officer's English and answer back in English on all of those types of application questions as well. So, just make sure your English is up to par before you spend the money applying. That's the one thing I cannot help with is your ability to speak English, right? So you want to make sure that you have your English capabilities where they need to be. The good thing is if that for some reason you cannot get through the English or civics test, automatically they will reschedule you about 90 days later to come back and you get a second shot at taking the test. So you just get a little more time to study, and then you go back and have a second chance. So it's worth trying because you get two shots. You pay one fee and you get to have two chances to take the test. And so, yeah, guys, like I said, it's a very exciting time to be able to become a U.S. citizen. Obviously, there's some great benefits of becoming a citizen. You can obviously vote in U.S. elections. You get your U.S. passport, which helps a lot of you travel much easier, more easily without visas. You can petition for your parents, your siblings. You can get certain jobs that are not available to people who are non-U.S. citizens. So, and I think most importantly, you can never be deported, right? Because there are people for long-time green card holders who end up having a criminal offense that then makes them deportable. And I represented many people in removal proceedings that had green cards for 20 years and all of a sudden we're losing them. So, having a green card is wonderful, but it's not a secure status 100%. There are things that can happen to make you lose that status. And US citizenship is really the only way to guarantee that you are safe in this country and that you can never lose status here. So again, we're so excited for you. We're so happy that you're starting this journey. Please be sure to fill out all of our questionnaires, get those documents to us so that we can prepare your case as quickly as possible. And once we have the drafts ready, we will send you instructions on how to review those drafts, how to sign into your My USCIS account, review the information, send us the payment information so we can make the payment online to USCIS. We will send all of that information to you, and we look forward to working with you and helping you to become a U.S. citizen.